let's jump into the final one, which is the balance and your
Yeah.
life wheel.
Okay.
As a coach, I'm familiar with the life wheel, so I like it very much. So I'll
Uh,
leave you introduce it and explain it.
okay. All right. So uh, balance is all about values, and values are subjective for the most part. There are some universal values, in my opinion. Like, for example, don't hurt anyone might
Right.
be a universal value. Life is a universal value, but generally, most values are subjective values,
Mhm.
meaning of value to whom? To you. So take me or you or some person as an example, and you might ask, well, what are your key values? What do you care about in your life? And I don't know what they may say, but let's say a person might say, well, I have spiritual values and I have intellectual values and I have physical. I want to be healthy. I want to be, thinking and emotional value, whatever it is. Or it can be something like, uh, I want money. I want, a wife. I want kids, a family, whatever it is. Whatever the values that you identify, let's imagine a bicycle tire. At the hub, there are spokes that reach out to the edges. And each one of those spokes can be represented by a value. So let's say physical health as a value. And you might put numbers on that spoke from 1 to 10, 10 being the outer edge of the spoke, 1 being in the inner edge where the hub is. And same with these other values. And you identify, let's say, 10 values that are critical in your life uh, with these numbers. And then you ask, okay, how are you doing physically? Like how healthy are you physically? Between 1 and 10. Okay, maybe you're a 7. How are you doing intellectually? Are you nourishing your mind? And okay, maybe it's a 5. How are you doing spiritually? Are you tuning into the spiritual aspect of your life? It's a 6 or whatever. If you're a balanced human being, when you draw a line around the edges, you should end up with a circle, more or less a circle. If you don't, you're a flat tire because you're not paying attention to certain values that you profess to be your values, but
Yeah.
you're not paying attention to them. You got a problem. You're not in balance. Now, it's okay to be out of balance for a while. To give you an illustration, when
Mm.
I wrote my bar exams, I had to be out of balance. I couldn't do everything. I had to pay attention to study for the bar exams for a few months to get through the bar exam. So I was out of balance for the purpose of attaining a higher goal. But then I
Yes.
had to come back into balance. I couldn't go like that forever.
Mm.
Uh, on the opposite end, if you're, say, a painter, and let's say like Van Gogh, where you love painting so much that you don't do anything else except paint. Well, if you got a brother who will support you so that you don't go, hungry and you got a place to live like he did, well, he could spend all his life painting, but it
Mm.
was a life out of balance.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, he was a genius. So, he paid the price because he was a genius. But I don't know if we're, in a state where we want to pay that kind of a price for our lives.
Mm.
Depends on who you are. But that's a little comment about balance.
And I guess that comes then down to a large extent around self-awareness, being cognizant of what your values are and how much attention you actually pay to them, and whether you're
Correct.
living in that balance, in harmony with your values. And we talked so much about that in working for a company where the company values are not in alignment with your own personal values. And, we're sort of forced into a scenario where we're not living our personal values as a result of the company and the dichotomy that comes out of that, I guess. So there's a
Yeah.
great
So there you got two sort of scenarios there. One is
yeah.
you're lucky enough to find a company that is in harmony with your values.
Hmm.
On the other hand, you may be in a situation where you have to join a company where the values are not in line with you. But even then, for example, with immigrants who come, the first job that they have the job is not likely to be in harmony with the higher values that they have, but they got a family to feed. So the value that they're supporting is looking after their family, which is a high priority value.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's not quite what you want, but for the sake of the moment, because you want to look after your family, you're ready to, to take on this work, even though it's not quite, it's clashing with your higher values.